I put together a short instrumental ukulele lesson here for One Note Samba. One Note Samba was written by Antonio Carlos Jobim. Jobim was a jazz pianist from Brazil and known as the father of the Bossa Nova sound. He came out with that first album in the late 60s with Stan Getz. Girl from Ipanema was on it, and Corcovado, so many wonderful Bossa Novas that we still enjoy today. And One Note Samba is from that same period. I pitched this song in the key of D for us because it gives us the advantage of an open string on that high A on the ukulele. And when we've got an open string like that, it makes it easier on the hands to play. We only have to hold down 3 strings while the open string is ringing out. So I hope you'll find it not too difficult and enjoy playing the One Note Samba and having some fun with it. I'll play it down for you here and then go back and explain what I'm doing. One Note Samba. In this arrangement, I'm using just 2 different groups of chords, and each group has just 4 chords in it. Then there's one more finishing chord that we use at the very end. When I describe the chords for you here throughout the lesson, I'm going to describe them from the lowest note up to the highest note. A lot of ukulele teachers and ukulele books describe the chords in the opposite direction, going from the highest note down to the lowest. And it's a bit of confusion because the G is generally a high G too, and I play with the low G exclusively. Now I described them from the low G up because this is the way traditionally we do it when we study theory and music harmony. When musicians discuss chords, they always discuss them from the lowest note to the top. And that's okay. We only have 4 strings on the ukulele, so it's easy to understand the description whether you're calling it from low to high or high to low. Let's take a look at our first group of 4 chords. We're going to make these 4 chords with just 2 hand shapes. The first shape looks like this. It spells 2, 4, 2, 4. I like to make this shape with a bar, so you'll see me doing it like this. Use either way you want to, whatever you find more comfortable. So that's the first chord shape, and as we go to the second one, we leave our index finger right where it is, and we cover these strings here. Now you can cover them any way you want to. I like to just flatten out my ring finger and do it like that. But you can do anything that you want to. Sometimes I'll do it like that. If my hand gets fatigued, this is what I'll do. I'll just cover each string with its own finger. But generally, if my hand's not fatigued, I'll do it like this. Okay, so there's our first 2 chords. And we're going to repeat this action and just move it down 2 frets right here. It's the exact same movement, but here we've got the advantage of some open strings, so I'm going to use my stronger fingers here. And those are our first 4 chords with just 2 different hand shapes. So we want to practice that. Get comfortable with that, and then we'll add the rhythm. Now the rhythm I was using on there is kind of a quick Bossa Nova or Samba rhythm, and if you want to know exactly what I'm doing and different ways that I'm making those kind of rhythms, you'll want to get the Bossa Nova rhythms video that I have on the website. I talk about different ways to make the Bossa Nova rhythms, and the Samba rhythms apply to Bossa Nova as well. We're just playing them at a much quicker tempo. So I'll go over them here without explaining the rhythm too much. What I'm doing, I'm going. Here's what I'm doing in slow motion. Down, 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 up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, 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 down, up, and explain what I'm doing there too much, I really want to refer you to that video because it can turn into quite a long lesson on just the rhythm if I do that. I'm going to recommend you use whatever rhythm that you can get your hands on and you're comfortable, whatever fits your own personal body rhythms, actually. I like to say, pretend you're playing a bossa nova rhythm or pretend you're playing a samba rhythm. And in the act of pretending, you can come up with something, sometimes it sounds very musical and a lot of fun. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing or what somebody else is doing. Sure, we want to study what somebody else is doing and try to do it. But in the meantime, go ahead and create your own rhythm. Just have fun with it and don't think there's a correct way to do it and you're going to do it wrong if it's not correct. Just have some fun. Make up a rhythm. Anything you want to do is okay, though. So we're going to play a rhythm in there, whether it's my rhythm or yours, and we're going to repeat this. I had it a couple of times. You can play it as many times as you want to. It's kind of a nice setup for the song. 2, 3, 4. So what this is, I'm on 4/4/5/5. So this is a 6/9 chord in this case. It's a D6/9. This shape has a couple of different, well, probably more than just a couple. It has maybe a few different definitions. But I always like to remind you that in ukulele playing, we have what I call chameleon chords. It's the best way to describe it without getting into harmonic descriptions and explaining things in some correct musical term. One shape can have many different names. In this case, we're using it as a D6/9 chord. So I'm just hitting it. And again, you can do it any way you want to. If you're not going to get my rhythm exactly, don't worry about it. Just put a rhythm up there. Okay, let's take a look at how we're going to play our melody here. And it's a very fun part of the song here. We've got our melody staying on just one string while our other fingers are covering 3 strings and moving down while this note keeps repeating up here. And this is playing that classic set of lyrics. This is just a little samba built upon a single note. And it is just a single note that it's built upon. So it sounds like this. Now what I'm doing here is using the exact same chords that we just played our introduction with. That's why I wanted to show you the introduction first, because it's the same set all the way down, but we're not playing the top string, top in pitch. So sometimes it gets confusing for beginning ukulele players. They say, well, isn't this the bottom and this the top? We're talking about pitch when we say top. So it's the top note in pitch, the highest one. So we let go of that note, and what are we left with? If we had our fingers like this, remember we have 2/4/2/4. We let go of that, and now what we're looking at is 2/4/2 open. We get this nice ringing sound coming out. And now we go to our next chord. Remember that one was 2/3/3/3. Now it's going to be 2/3/3 open. And our next chord, remember, was like this. Open 2, open 2. Now it's going to be open 2, open, open. And our next chord looked like this before. Now it's going to be, so it gets a really nice open chord sound. So you can just play it like that at first and enjoy the sound of these beautiful jazz chords moving with the open strings. And we want to now get the melody to add on to the chord, so it's going to be and we can slow the song way down to learn it. Matter of fact, we can slow the song down throughout. It doesn't have to be played at the tempo that I played it there. We can start the introduction slower and we can play this whole melody slower. It's a beautiful song. I've heard this song played in a very slow bossa nova tempo, and it sounds beautiful. I've heard it like that a lot, actually. It doesn't have to be a quick tempo. So we're going to learn it slow at first, because that's the way we want to learn everything in the beginning, is slow, because then the speed comes naturally and correctly if we learn how to play it correctly slowly first. So just take the first sentence there. This is just a little, and then we're going to relocate our strings here to the second chord. 2, 3, 3, open. Samba, built a, now we come down here, on a single note. Other notes are bound to follow, but the root is still this note. So you want to do that, and just as slow as you want. Hum along the lyrics there if you can't sing them. This song is pitched very high. It's too high for male vocal, unless you happen to be a very high tenor. It's really in a female vocal range. But we can sing this first part here, us men can. When it goes to the next part we're going to cover in a minute, it gets very high. It's hard for us. But for you female vocalists, you've got it made here. I've got this song in the Jazzy Ukulele series in the book I call Classic Bossa Novas. This is one of the songs I've got in the book, but it's not played in this key or in this way. It's played in the key of A. Here we're playing in the key of D. Now the key of A is a great male key. So for you guy singers, we need to go to the Bossa Nova book there, the Classic Bossa Novas, and there we've got it in our key. Different shapes completely that I'm using there, but it sets up very well and easy to play if you're just singing the song. Here I've created this arrangement so we can play it instrumentally and not sing. Okay, so you're going to want to recycle that first part until you start to get real comfortable with it, and don't worry about playing it fast or even playing it in tempo. You're just going to enjoy this. You don't even have to really play the song to enjoy the sound of those beautiful jazz chords ringing out with the open strings. Okay, so let's go to our next set of chords. This is our second set of 4 chords that we use in the song. And we start out by using the same shape that we used down here when we began the song that spelled 2-4-2-4. We just slide it right up here to 5-7-5-7. Now I'm going to bar it just like I did before. So we start with this chord, and then we go to this one, which spells 5-6-7-5. You probably can't see the 5 because I got my fingers in the way, but I'm playing my whole bar here. So it's 5, 6, 7, and 5. You can't see. And then down to 4-4-5-5, the 6-9 chord. And then one more chord that follows those, we hang on to these 2 covered strings here and also the covered string here, and we just slide the index finger back to this position. And so I have to swap out. This finger has to, middle finger has to come and get right there. And that's our 4 chord set. This one spells 3-4-5-5. So what I want to point out here is that this group of chords that starts here to here to here is what we call the B set of major jazz patterns that we study in Workbook number 1. The melody has shifted up to here now. Now this new note is the consequence of the one we've just been through. Stays on that one note there. So what we do on this first chord that spells 5-7-5-7 is release the little finger to get the melody note that we want. So it's 5-7-5-5. When we go to our next chord, 5-6-7-5, it's just as it is because that's the melody note that's being played right there. And then we go to 4-4-5-5, we still got the melody note. And we drop to this chord, all on that melody note. And then we return to the same chords we used before. We go right back to the beginning chords. And then I ended with. So following the lyrics around there for the end of the song. Now this new note is the consequence of the one we've just been through, as I'm bound to be the unavoidable consequence of you. Way too high for me to sing, but you get the point. So there we have it. That's all the chords we need to play that whole first section of One Note Samba. We didn't talk about the bridge to the song. That would be a whole nother lesson in itself. The bridge is made up of two major scales going up and down the neck, so if you're going to play it instrumentally, you want to know your scales pretty well. If you're going to sing it, then it's not so difficult to play. But we got through the first section of the song here, and I think we can have a lot of fun just with that much of it. Let me tell you a little bit about the ukulele I'm playing here. It's a gum ukulele. It comes from Korea. I was in Korea a couple of years ago doing a workshop for the gum company and thought I'd get one for myself. It's a tenor, plays very nicely. It's a nicely put together instrument. The fingerboard is easy to play. It's true all the way up the neck. And the word gum translates into dream in English, so we can call this a dream ukulele actually. I don't think they market it outside of Korea. I'm not sure. But next time you're there, you might want to look for one and check it out yourself.